Welcome to the review of the VIPC Leader Toolkit. The photo on this slide spoke to me because our passion for the American Red Cross and the VIPC program can ignite passion in others. I encourage you to think about what first prompted you to volunteer with the Red Cross and what keeps you volunteering. We hope you know how much you are valued by the VIPC program managers and the organization as a whole. We want to make sure everyone on your team has the resources they need to be successful and the attention they need to feel valued. The purpose of the VIPC Leader Toolkit is to provide the resources for an intake leader to effectively onboard and manage a team of virtual volunteers. We want to make sure VIPC intake leaders have all the resources they need to onboard and engage new team members. During this presentation, we will review the VIPC Leader Opportunity Description. We will walk through the process of how you receive new team members. We have created a checklist for you when working with a new team member. We will review some best practice ideas, discuss communication 1 week after a new volunteer has joined your team, and we will review some ideas for building relationships with your team members. Additionally, we will review training follow-up and how you can support your new team member. We'll talk about engagement and appreciation and review some potential appreciation opportunities. We'll review what you can expect from your VIPC program manager. We'll take some time to review some ideas and suggestions about managing your team. We'll discuss what to do if a team member is not logging hours and the process for end dating VIPC positions. On the screen is the purpose statement taken from the VIPC Intake Leader Position Opportunity Description. The purpose of the VIPC Intake Leader position is to lead and motivate the Volunteer Intake Processing Center volunteer intake team members to accomplish intake processes in a timely manner and provide excellent customer service for all new volunteers joining the American Red Cross. It's important that we also want this to be an excellent experience for all of you as leaders and your team members as well. From the VIPC Intake Leader Position Opportunity Description, let's review the responsibilities and time commitment. You will serve in a leadership role to remotely engage and motivate intake volunteers to achieve common goals. You will onboard new VIPC intake members, follow up on referrals, ensuring training, and serve as a mentor. You will have regular meetings and communications with the VIPC program managers, intake volunteers, and attend monthly town halls. You will provide your intake team members with technical assistance and troubleshooting guidance for volunteer connection. You will ensure additional training for the VIPC Center activities to assigned team members. The time commitment for the intake leader position is 4 to 8 hours a week. Your hours may depend on your team size and may increase during active disaster events. The time commitment encompasses both your work as a leader and the work you do in the queue each week. With all of these responsibilities, the VIPC program managers are here to support you. If you don't know the answer to a question, we'll help you find the answer. Prospective VIPC team members applying for the VIPC intake member position have an NHQ screening, and candidates that meet the criteria are forwarded to the VIPC referral team. During the referral screening, our referral team reviews the expectations for the VIPC intake team member position and determine if a candidate is a good fit for our program. The referral team reaches out to the program managers to determine which VIPC intake leader will be assigned to the new team member. As an intake leader, you will receive notification from the referral team that you have been assigned a new team member. The referral team will send an introductory email introducing you to your new team member. Once a volunteer has been given the VIPC position, it will take approximately 24 hours before they see the profile in the VIPC group share and before they are able to see the VIPC training calendar to sign up for basic training. Intake leaders can review the referral team's interview notes by accessing your team member's profile through the VIPC group share. Under the quick links, open Documents and download the interview sheet. We've created a new team member checklist for you, as well as some email templates to provide some guidance when reaching out to your team members. Once you've received a new team member, our hope is that you will reach out to them within a few days of receiving the introductory email. You should send the welcome email, Template 1, that outlines the tasks, including how to sign up for the basic training and the expectation that they will take the training within 2 weeks of receiving the position. If you are unable to send the welcome email in the first 72 hours of receiving the introductory email, please let your program manager know so we can do the initial outreach. We don't want to lose the momentum of them joining the team. The welcome email requests that they sign up and take the VIPC basic training within 2 weeks and requests that they notify you that they have registered for a training. We have also created an email template that you can send to all of your team members, introducing the new team member to the rest of your team. We're hoping this will help build a relationship between you and your team members. We're asking that you copy your VIPC program manager on these initial communication pieces so that they know they have occurred. We would like you to add an activity on your Volunteer Connection profile page through the VIPC group share so that we have documentation so that outreaches have taken place. Intake Leader resources can be accessed through the VIPC group share under the Files tab. Here we see the content of Template 1, the welcome email. You will need to update the email with information about yourself and your assigned VIPC program manager. Template 2 was created to introduce your new team member to the rest of your team. You will need to update the content with information about your new team member. Some best practice suggestions once your new team member has notified you that they have registered for the basic training. Mark your calendar within 48 hours of the completion of the training so you can follow up with them. Log activities by accessing their Volunteer Connection account through the VIPC group share. There is a tip sheet on how to log activities in the Files section of the VIPC group share. Schedule a meeting where you can share your screen and review accounts together. Here are some links to information about how you can use Microsoft Teams. Teams is a great tool for engaging your team members through the shared screens, group calls, and the ability to chat with each other. After accessing your team member's profile through the VIPC group share, you can add activities by clicking the quick link and completing the pop-up window. There is a tip sheet on how to add activities located in the group share under the Files tab in the folder VIPC Leadership Resources. 1 week after you have received a new team member, if they have not informed you of their training registration, we have another email template you can use to follow up with them. This template encourages them to access the VIPC training calendar, find a date, and register. So mark your calendar to follow up with them after you've sent template number 3. We want to make sure we are doing our due diligence in communicating with team members and encouraging them to follow through. Here we see the content of template 3, reminding your team member to sign up for a training. You can see whether a team member has registered for or attended a training by reviewing their shift history in their profile. Open their profile through the VIPC group share, scroll down to shift history, and review registrations. As you build your relationship with your team members, it's important that you establish a communication plan that determines the way you will communicate and how often you will communicate with each other. It may be different for different team members. Some of your team members may prefer a phone call so they can speak to you directly. Some team members would prefer a text or an email. Reinforce the benefits of the group share. You may want to resend and review the pre-basic tutorial video. Some information may feel more relevant after taking the basic training and working in the queue for a few weeks. Make sure your team members are comfortable with how to log volunteer hours. Making a phone call makes your team member feel like they are part of a team and not part of a company. An initial phone call will give you an opportunity to say thank you for choosing the Red Cross, and you can have some small talk to build rapport and have a deeper personal connection. This also gives your team member an opportunity for an immediate response to any questions they may have. Once your team member has completed the basic training, schedule a post-training follow-up. Ask them, how did the training go? How are you feeling about the training and the work you're doing? Is this the kind of work you expected to do? What can I do to help you get started? Encourage your team member to send the names of 10 accounts they have worked on so that you can review them. Post-training follow-up should include a review of the basic training. Make sure they are comfortable with how to access the global intake queue. Review the filtering process to find accounts to work on. Review the process timeline, the 366. Make sure they understand the importance of the VIPC second contact call and the follow-up email. Discuss the VIPC third contact email/text. Stress the importance of internal notes. We are a large team of volunteers, and the internal notes are how we communicate with each other. Document any information that will be helpful to the next volunteer working on the account. If your team member has not sent the names of the 10 accounts they have worked on, remind them to do so. Please review the accounts as soon as possible since some may be deactivated. Note whether it appears they understand the process and offer any guidance for anything they may have missed. This slide gives you a visual tool of what you can use to review our Count the Days on path for an account. If an application is started on April 1st, that is day 0. 3 days later, on April 4th, the applicant will receive the VIPC second contact. 6 days later, on April 10th, the account will receive the VIPC third contact. If the basic steps are not completed by day 15, advanced trained team members may deactivate the account. If your team member has not taken the training 4 to 6 weeks after joining your team, discuss with your program manager. If they have responded to your outreaches and indicate that no scheduled training fits their schedule, ask your program manager if a one-on-one training can be scheduled. If they have not responded to your outreach attempts, we may need to end date the position. Your new team member has agreed to take the training within 2 weeks of receiving the position. Your communication should happen 3 different times over a 3 to 6 week period, encouraging them to take the training. You may want to use a variety of communication methods: email, telephone call, or text message. All corrective communication needs to be logged in the volunteer's profile in the activities section. Send template 4, notification that the position may be end dated. Notify your program manager that the VIPC position should be end dated. If the VIPC position is the volunteer's only position, the VIPC program manager will notify the region. The region may reach out to try to engage the volunteer in a different position. Here we see the content of template 4 to let your team member know their position will be put on hold. Your role as an intake leader is vital. You are the first point of contact and should work to make sure each team member feels like they are part of a larger team. Create and discuss a communication plan with your team members. Review the expectations that you will have regular one-on-one conversations. 1 month post-training, continue to ask, how's it going? Is this position meeting your expectations? Can you continue to meet the hours expectation? Are you comfortable working in the queue? And please notify me if your weekly schedule changes. Encourage your volunteers to practice self-care and strive to have a volunteer home life balance. Part of working with your team is engagement and appreciation. Provide opportunities for your team members to ask for support. Discuss program promotion opportunities. When they are comfortable with basic processes, encourage your team members to take the advanced training. Encourage advanced trained team members to consider joining the helpline that assists prospective volunteers with application questions. Maybe your volunteer team member might be interested in supporting our virtual volunteer intake center, which manages applications in the DEBV queue when a region is in disaster mode. Our trigger and specialty teams assist moving applications forward when accounts ready for a second contact is unable to manage the number of accounts at this status. The specialty team are a small group of volunteers that do a deep dive on applications that need some special attention. If you have volunteers that enjoy facilitating presentations, encourage them to think about becoming a facilitator. And we're always looking for people interested in managing a virtual team. We have outlined some potential opportunities for expressing appreciation. Your personal welcome, a 30-day shout out in the monthly newsletter, a 60-day follow-up. Maybe your program manager can send a personal note. A 90-day follow-up, your program manager may be able to send a gift. Recognize their anniversary with the Red Cross. Send birthday greetings. Maybe there are special events that need to be acknowledged. Or you could create a team photo essay on the group share. If you'd like to send a shout out through the monthly newsletter, please contact our volunteer, Catherine Eisbray, to submit a shout out. It's important that the VIPC program managers understand what you need from us to be successful in your role as a VIPC intake leader. You should have regular meetings with your VIPC program managers. Program managers will make all VIPC intake leaders a leader in the VIPC group share, which allows you to run reports and create activity notes. We will supply you with monthly hours information so you can congratulate volunteers who have logged hours and motivate those who have not. We'll give you notification of system updates and potential issues, and give you information on areas that need to be focused on for your team's attention. During your regular meeting with your VIPC program manager, be prepared to discuss the communication you've had with your individual team members. Talk about what your cadence is, what concerns have they shared. Review your engagement strategies, discuss any recognition of your team members, and talk about your attempts to outreach to members not logging hours and log activities on their profile. The email templates we have created are guidelines for your communication. Please make your communication with your team members your own. Be spontaneous in your communication schedule, method, and language so that the communications do not seem automated or scripted. Develop additional communication forums, engagement opportunities for your volunteers. You may want to schedule quarterly or semi-annual town halls with your team so they can come together and share their questions, concerns, or feedback. Or you may want to schedule a short series of open mic sessions where you provide additional support or highlight new or updated technologies. If you notice that a team member is not logging hours, reach out to ask them if you can help get them re-engaged. If there is no response after 3 contacts attempt, then begin the process to remove the VIPC position. When building that initial foundation of your team, we must lay out expectations, a communication schedule, and, unfortunately, the process for ending a position when necessary. Your team should know the expectations of the position, 2 hours per week with a minimum expectation of 8 hours a month. When there is a consistent lack of hours, even after gentle reminders, intake leaders should document response or lack of response by logging an activity. A Microsoft Teams group was created as a way for intake leaders to be able to get to know each other and support one another by sharing experiences and best practices with each other to empower them to be awesome leaders. It provides new intake leads a comfortable platform to help them feel like part of a team. If you have any questions about the Intake Leader Microsoft Teams group, you can contact Laura Parrott. To recap, you are the key to the success of the VIPC program. You may be managing a team of up to 10, depending on your experience as an intake leader. You are their first point of contact. Your program managers are here to support you to make sure you have the resources you need to be successful. And the work your team performs makes it possible for the Red Cross to provide our mission across the country and at our service to the Armed Force stations. If you have any questions, please reach out to your program manager. Being part of the American Red Cross transforms common days into Thanksgiving. Our motivation to create this toolkit is to make sure you have the resources you need to be successful in your position as a VIPC intake leader. The work of the VIPC is vital to the American Red Cross. Every volunteer delivering the mission across the country comes through one of our various queues and is managed by this team. Thank you all for all you do to support the American Red Cross and the VIPC program.